What is up, guys? Doing another themed character build video, and today we're taking a look at Scarface, the Kingpin of the Payday gang. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're bringing. We're bringing the Little Friend assault rifle, complete with a medium suppressor, a concealment boost modifier, which is left over from this is the gun I had laying around. I didn't build this specifically for this build. And the Rickpunkt 45-degree sight. I'm also using the Commando 101 rocket launcher that just has a little team boost modifier on it. The Lumberlight L2 chainsaw. Of course, using the injector throwable because that is the whole point of using the Kingpin perk deck. I'm also using Trip Mine primary deployable and Ammo Bag secondary deployable, wearing the two-piece suit. And we'll go ahead and take a look at the skills that we're using. Using high value target ace, of course, to deal higher damage to special enemies. Aggressive reload ace in order to increase my reload speed, so on and so forth. Of course, bullseye basic in order to armor gate, fully loaded basic just to hold more ammunition. Bullet storm aced and extra lead aced in order to assist with using the commando, so on. Jack of all trades ace, of course, to pack multiple deployables. Surefire ace in order, or basic, I'm sorry. Surefire basic in order to bring 15 more bullets in the mag. Dire need ace in order to knock enemies off their feet if I needed to spray and pray in a moment of haste. Also, since when using the injector, your armor is most likely going to be broken and enemies are going to be shooting at you all over the place, the effect will be active for most of the time that you are using Kingpin. I also got Unseen Strike aced just to try to pick up a little bit of crits. Honestly, I had some leftover points and I just figured why not. I haven't really used it on too many builds and I just felt like messing around with it. Silencer skills, of course, in order to boost the usefulness of my suppressors. Alright, and now, without further ado, let's go ahead and take a look at our gameplay. So, since I've already talked about Kingpin in length in the past, with previous videos, one video in particular, one of my one down tips videos if I'm not mistaken, covering over the perk deck in a pretty good amount of detail. I do think it's one of the best perk decks in the game for one down loud, alongside with Anarchist, Sicario, and Rogue. So those opinions really haven't changed much. Nothing has really happened to the perk deck in recent months since I've been away, so we won't really talk about that too much. So instead I'll just talk about the weapon choice. The Little Friend rifle is a very strong weapon for different reasons. It is the only primary, or actually the only weapon in the game, to my knowledge, that has well, no, it's the only one that has a underbarrel grenade launcher attachment. And really the only one that doubles as essentially two weapons. That in and of itself makes it very strong, even though it has poor ammo pickup on the DMR portion, or roughly average pickup for the DMR portion. Maybe it's... no, I guess it would be considered poor, wouldn't it? Regardless, the grenade launcher portion is pretty much equal in stats to the GL40 the last time I looked at it. I assume that hasn't changed. So... the DMR portion, of course, is very strong, comparable to the other DMRs in the game, things like the Cavity, the M308, and so on. It's pretty good, overall, very effective weapon. Of course, it's low concealment does, or no, not low concealment. Low concealment rating? Yeah, I guess that'd be the right way to say it. Regardless, the fact that you can't make a very good concealed build with it kind of limits it in terms of crit builds and things of that nature. Not saying that it's impossible, because you definitely can. It's just a bit more difficult than it would be with other weapons. The Commando, of course, is basically just a more spammable HRL7. 4 shots that deal half the damage of a regular HRL7 shot. So here I'm opting to use the Commando's auto-fire as opposed to the rocket launcher initially, because the rocket launcher has a tendency to blow yourself up if you're not careful. Have to be very careful around dozers with Kingpin, simply because they'll just eviscerate you. Even with your injector on, you'll be just as weak and fragile as you would be with any other perk deck. So I definitely wanted to try not to burn my injector a few moments ago as soon as the dozers came in, since I'd be able to cleave through it pretty readily. Well, I mean, you can use it, and it does help to some extent so other enemies don't kill you while you're trying to fight the dozers, but dozers are really your only major fear. Of course, using the grenade launcher on the commando just has on the little friend has an excellent reload speed and everything of that nature. I tried really hard I wanted to blow that particular flashbang up because it clips through the door, and if you're standing behind the door, it will cause you to go blind. I also have not been able to use my inverted flashbang mod, and flashbangs are back to driving me absolutely crazy again. It's awful, and I hate it. I hate the whiteout. I wish there was an in-game option to turn it to a blackout. So I clearly don't use the DMR portion of this gun too terribly much in this run. Kingpin showing its strong suits right there for a second, just be able to get myself out of that situation when a lot of other perk decks wouldn't be able to. But of course, it is a very strong perk deck, and the grenade launcher attachment to this weapon is phenomenal. I try to think of it as a grenade launcher with a AR attachment on the top, as opposed to an AR with, or like a DMR with a grenade launcher attachment on the bottom. And I use the grenade launcher more than I do the actual gun itself. But overall, just a very good weapon. There's not really too much to say about the commando other than the fact that it's a rocket launcher, does lots of damage, pretty good DPS, long reload time, of course. I didn't mention it earlier whenever it happened, but whenever I did use Bullet Storm to be able to like spam the commando without losing any ammo, kind of like I was in Swan Song, which is a pretty fun little tactic. Or at least I find it enjoyable. Overall, this weapon combination, it's really not too bad on one down. I'm kind of just like a heavy artillery type person. There's not really many situations that this particular setup can't deal with. You have explosives for shields, and I mean, just it covers everything. So, of course, this build was rather short and sweet, simply because I've already talked about Kingpin pretty thoroughly in the past. But anyways, guys, there was my Scarface character build, and as usual, thank you so much for watching.